Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. So I'm going to begin the show with a rant. Yes, you heard. I'm going to begin with a rant because I do that from time to time. And also, again, because this is my therapy and I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And why do I feel the need to rant? Well, as you probably know, because I believe I've mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I'm moving a bunch of websites. And I'm doing that because, well, I currently have 2 web hosting accounts. The reason I have 2 web hosting accounts is because I wound up having more websites than would fit on the one host, and I needed all of them, and I needed to create a new site. So, all right, I'll go ahead, create a new hosting account. And then I get an email a couple of weeks ago, hey, your hosting account is up for renewal. It expires early May. And I was like, oh, right, I should probably go ahead and move websites. And so after having basically had to rebuild about 5 or 6 sites, I decided, let me see if I can wind up actually downloading everything instead of having to, rebuild the website. And so I found a way that, hey, I can download stuff using an FTP server. And so I downloaded stuff, and then I uploaded to the new server, and then I contacted the hosting company to say, hey, I need to move this site from this host to this. Can you, point the DNS things? And they said, yep, we can do that. Should be working, and, well, the site's not working, and they're like, oh, you're missing this folder. Ah, okay, well, let me see if I can download that. I can't connect via FTP anymore. And then I found a way to actually get the folder downloaded, and then I've uploaded to the new server, and, well, I'm having problems. Yeah, I'm having problems, major problems, and I might have to just wind up completely rebuilding this website, and I don't want to have to do that because there's a lot of content that's on this website that I don't necessarily know how I'm going to be able to, remake. Hopefully I can go through the Wayback Machine and do a pretty good job of rebuilding stuff, but I don't really know. That said, a little stressed at the moment because things aren't working out the way I was hoping. And I also forgot to back up one particular thing, but then I was able to go through and do like a full backup of the WordPress, and because that's nearly a 200 megabyte file, I was uploading, and then, oh wait, I don't know how long this is going to take, and I need to record a podcast, so I've taken a break from that, because I can't upload a 200 megabyte file and record and have the recording not screw up. So, that said, how's your Monday? And also, don't forget that there was the question that I had asked on Friday, where I was answering the questions as part of the Ask Me Anything, and the question was, what is one goal that you have in life? So, if you feel like sharing some of your goals, send those over, goals@fppradio.com. I will read them anonymously unless you specify you can include my name, goals.fppradio.com. And speaking of answering questions, don't forget every Friday I answer yours. send those over ama@fppradio.com. So let's get into the meat of the show, if you will. And, it's sort of one of those serendipitous things, and this is definitely not something that I wanted to be able to say, oh, yeah, this is serendipitous. Article about stress. And specifically, how to beat stress while at work. Because, as you may or may not know, work can be stressful. Even in your dream job, you'll find that work has a way of adding stress and anxiety to your life. Tight deadlines, unrealistic bosses, impossible demands can make you feel drained, angry, and stressed. Some people even have restless nights because of the stress put upon them by their jobs. Ripping out your hair because of work isn't the answer to your problem. Every employee needs to find a perfect work-life balance in their job, and there are several ways to beat stress. Let's take a look at 5 of them to help you beat stress and be happier. Number 1, they say use your lunch to exercise. If you wear a suit to work or are thinking, this person is nuts, just think about all the time wasted at lunch. A quick 10 to 20 minute walk and a stretch in the bathroom stall or at your desk will cause your body to release endorphins. What do endorphins do? Well, endorphins make you happy. If you're stressed to your limit, you can quickly eliminate stress by getting moving. Number 2, also specific to the lunch break, is go out for lunch. You're in the heat of the moment, your emotions are high, and you remain in the environment that is making you stressed. It's no wonder why the stress keeps piling up. What you can do to alleviate this is simply go out to lunch. A quick departure from work will allow stress levels to subside. If you don't have enough time to sit down and have a meal, pack a picnic and head to the nearest park. And what's the saying about recommend 20 minutes of, just quiet sitting outside a day unless you're super busy, and then recommend an hour? Something along those lines. I forget the exact quote, but stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Work got you stressed? Well, I'm going over a list of 5 things you can do while at work to relieve the stress and wind up having a happier day, possibly a happier life. I'll get back into that in a moment. But are you stressing about ways that you can use your Bitcoin? Well, don't worry. You don't need to stress about that, because luckily there's a super simple search engine, Spendabit. It's the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin-accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. 5 ways, I think it's 5 here, ways to beat stress at work. Number 1 is use your lunchtime to get some exercise. Doesn't have to be, a full-on workout, just, like a 10 to 20-minute walk. Do some stretches at your desk, in the bathroom stall, in the hallway, outside, just, get moving a little bit. Number 2, and this can actually be incorporated with number 1, especially if you're taking a walk, go out to lunch. Get out of the office. Number 3, and this is one that definitely hits close for me, don't overcommit. Employees have a sense of honor to their employers, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you also need to stop overcommitting. In my case, I overcommit to myself, to where I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do all the things myself because the reasons. When you go above and beyond the call of duty, your employer will keep expecting the same dedication from you time and time again. Instead, don't overcommit. Now, before I read the last sentence here under don't overcommit, I've found in the various jobs that I've had that, this is exactly true. When you do keep going, over what's expected, or you always do what the boss asks you, then they will expect that from you all the time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But let me give you an example from when I worked for an airline. And I'm going to censor out some of the foul language that was actually used in the interaction. Supervisor comes over, Darryl, I need you to do, and I forget what it was. But it wasn't something major, but, I'm running around and doing stuff. And I was like, what is wrong with you? There's 10 people sitting in the break room not doing anything. They've not done anything for several hours. Why don't you ask one of them to do this? Because you keep asking me, and I'm running around like a crazy man. And he said, because I know you'll do it. You might yell at me. You might drop a few too many F-bombs, but I know you'll do it. And, apply that as you will, but that's exactly true. They say, here, again, when you go above and beyond the call of duty, your employer or your supervisor or whoever's the guy above you or lady above you will always expect it. Instead, just don't overcommit. Working night and day to get a project done shows commitment, but it can easily be taken advantage of by employers. Instead, be a committed employee that knows when to say no. Number 4, and this is something that seems a certain personality type really loves this, and it doesn't necessarily fit with everybody. So, take it or not. But the recommendation here on ways to beat stress is learn to schedule your day in advance. And I know for some people this will wind up causing extra stress because you're like, well, this doesn't allow for any deviation. It says right here that I have to do this at 11:15 and it's 11:15. So I have to do this. It doesn't matter that I still have more stuff to do over here. So again, for some people this causes more stress. For others, it alleviates. But they say here that scheduling out your day properly is the key to success as an employee. If you don't learn to schedule your day properly, you'll find that you have too much to work or too much work that you can't handle. A tip from some of the most successful people in the world is to schedule your day a day or a week in advance. When you make a schedule in advance, you know what to expect and can better prepare your day. And you don't have to worry about being overworked or stressed. Use a pen, a calendar, a pad, a pocket calendar, an organizer, or anything that will help you organize everything in a simplified manner. But again, if you wind up, well, I have a schedule and I have to stick to the schedule. I cannot deviate from the schedule, then that's going to cause you more stress. But you need to also take number 5 into consideration, which is to take regular breaks. We live in a society that revolves around work. Our very existence is work-related, and while you may like to take the initiative to work through breaks and lunch, it's better to actually take regular breaks. A regular break allows you to restart your mind. Well, it says rest your mind, but it also, sort of restarts the mind and rejuvenates your creativity. Regular breaks can be as simple as a coffee break away from your desk or as robust as a long vacation. They say here, try to get up from your desk at least every half hour. Even if you have a job you like, sooner or later you may face the problem of stress. If this occurs, you can adopt these methods to deal with stress in order not to run into a situation when you need to take emergency measures. Try to avoid stressful situations. So take care of yourself, and the body will resist stress at work steadfastly. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
Hi, I'm Nick Hazelton from the Anarcho-Yakutalism podcast, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Let's change gears here just a little bit and go from talking about ways to beat stress and be a little happier to some things that you can do to just be happy. Specifically, things to take a break from. And yes, I know take a short break from work was one of the things about how to beat stress at work, but what are some other things just in your everyday life that you can take a break from? And they suggest here, the headline from Mind, Body, Green, and as always, the link will be in the show notes. The headline here is 3 things to fast from every week to be happy. The author begins by saying, I'm the type of person who wants everything done in a hurry. I take the turnpike to get to my destination quicker, despite how much or how little time I've spent developing an idea. I want it to come to fruition fast. But even in the midst of my need for speed, life sometimes forces me into a standstill. Take traffic jams, for instance. In that pause, I take the opportunity to slow down my thoughts just enough to grab a moment of solace. I remember that those who go fast often get hurt. In those moments of hurry up and live, we fail to experience the beauty in simple moments. And often the traffic, and once the traffic starts to move again, I always realize that I enjoyed the stillness. Moments like these remind me that slowing down to recharge and refocus is something that we can choose to do at any time, not just when we're in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I've made the choice to incorporate intermittent fasting from a few things on a weekly basis. The more I fast, the author says, the more I free up clutter of mind, body, and spirit. The more I pause, the more I pick up momentum for what needs to get done. Here are 3 things the author of this article says that they fast from every week in order to stay on task, stay on point, and to stay on purpose. Number 1, and I'm guessing that a lot of you are kind of like me in some respects, and I don't mean that as an insult at all. But number 1 here is something that for the most part I quote-unquote fast from for a long time. And technically, I don't even own one of these devices, and that is television. The author says, I know it sounds funny, but all jokes aside, programming is designed to program you. If you're spending copious amounts of time in front of the tube watching the finest of reality and crime shows, don't be surprised when crime becomes your reality. The author says, I refrain from watching TV a few days a week and replace that time with reading, meditating, writing, and physical activity with my little ones. And when I said, if you're anything like me, I know a lot of people that just don't own televisions anymore. And I'm not talking about just the cord cutters, but I know people that just do not own televisions. Now, that's not to say that they don't quote-unquote watch TV. They'll, use streaming services like Hulu or Netflix and, watch copious amounts of TV. The only shows that I try to watch on a regular basis are college football, although I don't think you could necessarily call that a TV show, but, it's broadcast on TV, so whatever. College football, and I enjoy professional wrestling. Now, I know that there's things other than WWE, what used to be WWF. There's Ring of Honor Wrestling that I think just wound up getting some kind of contract with some streaming service. There's Lucha Underground. There's New Japan from Japan, and a bunch of other various organizations. But the major one in the U.S. is WWE. And yeah, I will, try to watch Monday Night Raw if I get a chance. If I'm not doing anything else, then I'll, see if I can pull up a stream for SmackDown. But that's really it. Oh, and once Game of Thrones comes on, always make sure that I watch Game of Thrones and Vikings. So, there's a handful of TV shows that I watch, but there's only 2 more seasons of Game of Thrones left, 13 total episodes left over the next 2 years. So, yeah, I'm not sitting there watching a lot of TV, but I do kind of enjoy it. But this definitely makes sense. Take a break from that. Number 2, and this is a lot harder to take a break from for a lot of people, social media. The perfect storm of opinion and ostentatiousness, self-promotion and self-expression. Social media is filled with the best and the worst offerings of humankind. You can say that again. So I will. Social media is filled with the best and worst offerings of humankind. Social media can be an amazing tool for connecting with distant friends and family while learning about different schools of thought, products, and methodologies. And sometimes it's just great for a laugh and uplifting quote to get you through the day. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, talking about 3 things to fast from on a regular basis in order to basically keep your sanity and stay happy. Number 1 is television. Number 2, social media. And let me repeat just a little bit here. Sometimes social media is great for a good laugh and an uplifting quote to get you through the day. But not everything you see is real. It's critical, the author says, it's critical for me to fast from social media at least once a week in order to cultivate organic, non-virtual connections with others. So much of what people do is influenced by what they see and read, and taking the time to tune out popular opinions helps me foster my own. And number 3, and I know this is one that's going to be hard for a lot of people, food. People often associate fasting from food with a religious practice, but that isn't necessarily the case. It became intertwined with religion because fasting, like religion, encourages a pause from the physical in order to bond with the spiritual. Fasting actually helps cease not only the nonstop traffic imposed on your GI tract, that's gastrointestinal tract, but also the nonstop chatter of your mind. Author here says, typically I'll fast from Sunday evening until Monday evening. Almost without fail, every time I break my fast after 24 hours, I'm hit with an amazing idea and how to execute it. It's as if the pause refueled my senses. And just want to sort of go off on a tangent here to say that I really like the term break my fast or break your fast, which is where the term breakfast actually comes from. But it's like, some weird Middle English sort of term that, various books that are set in sort of like a Middle Ages sort of thing, they will often use the phrase, oh, yes, when this character broke his fast or broke her fast. I just like the term. And see you on the morrow, not see you tomorrow, but on the morrow. Yeah, I know. I'm weird and my brain works in weird ways. I know. Continuing here with the final sentence. The next time you feel out of sync or downright distracted, ask yourself whether it's time to pump the brakes. The slight pause may actually become your round-trip ticket into the fast lane. Don't forget, every Friday, I answer your questions. Send those over AMA@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.